Hello and welcome or welcome back to Language, Culture, and Dr. Lou. And today, in this video, I'd like to talk to you about some pretty popular sayings, popular phrases that are actually trademarked. They're actually copyrighted. So you got to pay a price tag if you use them for commercial material. And some are more surprising than others. And so let's get this started with my first one. And this is probably about my favorite. Do you remember when people used to go around saying, "That's hot," right? That's hot. That was actually copyrighted by Paris Hilton. She patented that phrase. And I don't know if you remember her reality show with Nicole Richie called The Simple Life, when they used to, well, go around being made fools of for not being able to do simple manual labor, basically. But anyway, um, she and Nicole didn't really love how they were portrayed in that show, but on the bright side, at least Paris Hilton got a trademark out of it for That's Hot, who, by the way, I'm not sure exactly what year she trademarked it, but um, I do know that in around 2007, she won a lawsuit against Hallmark for using That's Hot without paying her for it in any way. So I guess that expression is hers. So be careful not to use it for anything commercial, or else you're gonna owe Paris Hilton a little bit of money. And so that's the thing about having phrases be trademarked, to be copyrighted. The person who did mark them, the patent holder is going to get some money when they're used. And so, not that I think the Paris Hilton needs any more money, but hey, still good for her. And so, this next one is by, you might remember who this announcer is. He for decades has been, well, was serving as an announcer in not just professional boxing but also professional wrestling. Yeah, and he's probably the guy you can remember saying, "Let's get ready to rumble." And good for him, he got that copyrighted actually. So it's not the professional boxing league or professional wrestling league or anything like that that have the copyright. It's him, it's the announcer there. So again, good for him. That's a smart business move, because uh there are indeed people still using "Let's Get Ready to Rumble" in commercials and TV shows and all that. And whenever they do that, then Michael Buffer makes a little money off it. And so, speaking of people from sports copywriting phrases, the guy who copyrighted the term three-peat is Pat Riley. He was the coach of the Los Angeles Lakers basketball team. And I think it was in 1988 he copyrighted, well, yeah, he trademarked the term three-peat because he was hoping that the Lakers would go on and win a championship. And so, therefore, and by the way, that's of course what a three-peat is. It's when somebody wins not just one title, but a second and then a third. It's not just a repeat, it's a three-peat the third time you did this. And so we use that in professional sports about someone winning all three games, or oftentimes it's an annual championship kind of a deal. And so, yeah, the Lakers did not win the championship that year, so they did not actually three-peat. But luckily for Pat Riley, he had trademarked that phrase anyway. So every time in professional sports broadcasting that they're using the term three-peat. Pretty sure they owe him a little money, right? And so plenty of phrases have been copyrighted from sports, not just let's get ready to rumble or three-peat. You also have John McEnroe, who was totally known for throwing fits on the court, just freaking out and throwing temper tantrums, right? He would throw tantrums on the court and say nasty things. And one time, and he was freaking out at Wimbledon actually, so pretty darn important uh, occasion for tennis. And he actually said, "You cannot be serious." He was pissed off about the judge's call, about the officials' call, and all that. And so yeah, he said you cannot be serious. And although he didn't really win, but he did get a copyright of that phrase. And so apparently John McEnroe would get a little money every time someone commercially uses the phrase you cannot be serious, which that to me is funny because anybody could say that. And luckily, most of us say this in private, so we don't owe anybody any money about it. And so, another athlete who trademarked a phrase is just the phrase G, like just one word, G, as in to mean something like you're really happy after taking a swim. And why do I say a swim? Because he is Ryan Lochte. The guy who copyrighted this, he's an Olympian and a swimmer. He has several Olympic medals for swimming, and the patent is silly. Like it says on the words for the patent, this could mean anything, but especially when you're happy. Like if you just took a swim, and then you could say, "Oh, gee." It's some wording, something like that. Now, I think that's funny because you know how often people say OG? I wonder if you can get around the copyright issue by spelling it a different way. I'm not sure how that works. I don't really know about copyright law that much, but I think spellings matter when you're copywriting words or phrases. Because even occasionally the punctuation matters. So maybe you could avoid copyright infringement issues by just spelling it like GEE or something like that. I don't know. Not suggesting you try to get over into a copyright war with an Olympic swimmer, but um, I find that's funny that I don't think he had the other spellings of it also patented. And speaking of spelling mattering when you patent a word, do you remember that chef Emerald Lagasse from his company called Emerald Food of Love, the LLC? That's who technically holds the copyright for the term "bam." And why I'm saying that spelling is important. I don't think all the letters have to be capitalized for it to be included in his copyright, but what is part of it is the exclamation mark. So if you use "bam" with an exclamation mark for commercial purposes, you owe him or at least his company some money, and that's been the case for a good 25 years now. And yeah, and that's to me is funny. Like he was always, let's take things up a notch, and bam, that. Pretty funny and expressive guy, but very successful chef. But that to me is funny that people have patented words as small as G or bam, and they've been successful at it. So that to me is interesting. And now, of course, speaking of athletes who got to copyright a phrase, do you remember Tim Tebow, the NFL player, right? Uh, so he's in player in the National Football League, and he was really known for this thing where on the field he would go down on one knee and make a fist, and even sometimes grab it at his forehead or his face. And I couldn't kind of tell, is he just really thinking there, or maybe is he praying? Kind of that. Well, it turns out what he's doing is Tebowing. Yeah, and he trademarked that phrase, Tebowing, that word, which was, of course, a verb invented based on his last name and based on what he would always do on the football field. But yeah, that's actually copyrighted. So if other, yeah, if professional sports broadcasting are using that verb right there, I think maybe they are owing him some money, right? And so one thing that's a little less surprising, also having to deal with the NFL that has been trademarked or copyrighted rather, is the expression Super Bowl. That little phrase Super Bowl, because we know a bowl that can be a championship football game. We have lots of college championship games called bowls, this bowl or that bowl, etc. But the Super Bowl, that belongs strictly to the NFL. And what to me is funny is that I don't think they copyrighted this until 1969, which I think was around the time of Super Bowl three. And so that's why I have the picture farthest away from me, the one most to, well, my right, your left. That would be, I think, Super Bowl three when the New York Jets were playing the Baltimore Colts. Excuse me. And I know they don't play in Baltimore anyway, but they used to back then. And and this is why if someone owns a bar or a restaurant or well an establishment, any commercial establishment, if you have like a special going on for the Super Bowl, you can't be advertising it as Super Bowl special or Super Bowl Sunday special, anything like that, because you would owe the NFL some money for doing that. That's probably why you're used to seeing a lot of places advertise things like big game special or game day special, things like that. That's so that the NFL doesn't come after them for some royalties, I guess, some money from using their um, copyrighted material. And just two words, well, one compound word, I guess, Super Bowl, that alone has its, yeah, you got to pay for that. And so this next one is the last one I will share for today, and I'm sorry about it. It's a lot more sad than the rest of them. And so I saved the most sad one for last. And trigger warning, it has to do with 9/11. Um, so if you want to avoid it, feel free to stop watching the video now. Um, but part of the point I've been making throughout showing you some of these phrases that have been copyrighted is if somebody uses this phrase commercially, they have to pay for it. Like they owe the person who owns the copyright money for using it. And so I would encourage you to buy some memorabilia, some paraphernalia, some merchandising with the expression "let's roll" on it, because then any proceeds from that uh, will end up going to the Heroic Choices Foundation, which used to be known as the Todd M. Beamer Foundation. And who is Todd M. Beamer? He was, well, a young man who was a passenger on the airplane in 9/11. On 9/11, there were four planes altogether. Two hit the Twin Towers, one hit the Pentagon. There was another airplane that terrorists had taken over that was also headed for the Pentagon. I do believe that was going to be their final destination. But some passengers on the plane that had been taken over by terrorists, they took it over pretty much and took the damn plane down in a field in Pennsylvania, so it didn't do any kind of damage like the ones that hit the Pentagon or the Twin Towers or anything. And so these were some real American heroes. And sorry, it's making me a little emotional to think about the self-sacrifice. And and the last words that you heard him say on the radio is, "Are you ready? Okay, let's roll." And then they went ahead and, overthrew the damn terrorists who had the plane and took the plane down, crashed it in a field so it couldn't do damage to any big populated areas. So anyway, and the Heroic Choices Foundation, they do good work. They help traumatized children, usually ages 8 to 12, but children who have been traumatized, they help them learn to make good choices and become stronger people therefore. So I think it's a mission worth supporting. So please do feel free to buy some merchandise with the term "Let's Roll" listed on it because it's in honor of, well, some American heroes and it's going for a good cause. So thank you so much for hanging out. Sorry about the bummer that was the last phrase, but thank you for hanging out and catching the other ones, which most of them I had no idea were copyrighted. A couple of those I could have suspected, but anyway, I'm not using any of them for commercial purposes. We'll consider this video educational purposes, so I get to use them without paying for them, I hope. Anyway, and so thanks again for everybody who watches my videos and for especially those of you who stick around till the very end. So I'm really happy about that. So thanks again, old friend. And so please do give this video a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't have to miss any more of my uploads. And yeah, so am actually already preparing another fun words du jour video, so I will come at you with that probably as soon as tomorrow. And so, yeah, until then, catch you around next time. Bye bye.